Milane, hvala najljepše. Sada otvaramo panel diskusije na temu upravljanja sajber bezbjednošću, dijalog na visokom nivou o zaštiti nacionalne sajber bezbjednosti u digitalnom dobu. Pozivam Nikolu Živkovića iz Direkcije za informacionu bezbjednost Ministarstva javne uprave da nam se kao moderator pridruži na bini. Nikola Živković, 23-godišnji magistar informatike, entuzijasta i istraživač ofanzivne sajber bezbjednosti, trenutno radi kao lovac na prijetnji i tester penetracije u vladinom CIRT-u Crne Gore. Nikola, izvolite. Zadovoljstvo mi je da kao prvog panelistu najavim gospodina Ilira Daku, šefa jedinice za praćenje sajber bezbjednosti i reagovanje na incidente u Nacionalnoj upravi za elektronsku sertifikaciju i sajber bezbjednost Albanije. Ilir Daka je stručnjak za sajber bezbjednost sa više od 1 decenije iskustva u računarstvu i tehnologiji. Obrazovan u Albaniji sa diplomom elektronskog inženjerstva, master diplomom iz informacionih tehnologija i sertifikatom za profesionalnog mrežnog trenera. Sa skoro 12 godina iskustva na privatnom tržištu odlučio je da se pridruži vladi u kritičnom trenutku kada tržište traži profesionalce. Drago nam je da imamo priliku da čujemo iskustva i kolege iz Albanije. Na bini će nam se pridružiti gospodin Damir Softić iz Cyber Security Excellence Center Bosne i Hercegovine. Damir Softić je istaknuti stručnjak za sajber bezbjednost i pravo sa bogatom karijerom koja traje više od 1 decenije. Trenutno radi kao koordinator projekta u Centru izvrsnosti za sajber sigurnost u Sarajevu, Bosne i Hercegovina. Njegova stručnost leži u vođenju implementacije projekata u skladu sa protokolima sajber bezbjednosti i obrazovnim ciljevima, premošćavanjem jaza između CSI-a, IT odjeljenja, akademskog osoblja i eksternih subjekata za sajber bezbjednost. Damirova uloga uključuje preciznu projektnu dokumentaciju i praćenje, strateško planiranje i razvoj politike unutar CSIC-a. Kao trećeg panelistu pozivam gospodina Dušana Krkotića iz CIRT-a Crne Gore da kroz ovaj panel podijeli iskustva sa kojima se Crna Gora suočava kada je sajber bezbjednost u pitanju. Dušan Krkotić je više od decenije angažovan na poslovima informacione bezbjednosti na različitim pozicijama u okviru Ministarstva za informaciono društvo, kasnije Ministarstva javne uprave. Učestvovao je u definisanju prve i svih kasnijih strategija sajber bezbjednosti Crne Gore, formiranju nacionalnog CIRT-a i njegovom učlanjenju u FIRST. Trenutno se nalazi na poziciji načelnika Direkcije za informacionu bezbjednost, odnosno vladinog CIRT-a u okviru Ministarstva javne uprave. Izvolite.
Okay, so thank you for a kind introduction. Is everything okay with the speakers?
Yes, everything's fine.
Okay. Just to adjust for a brief second here. Okay, so I would like to open up with saying thank you for the kind introduction, and of course it's our pleasure to be a part of today's conference, as it is our pleasure to contribute by having a constructive and interactive discussion through this and all the previous and upcoming panels. We'll be attending the 3 topics here on this panel, and for the first one, I think there is no better than to go from the root, and we should talk about critical infrastructure. So the first question would be, is or how is it legally defined, and does your law recognize information technology as a critical infrastructure, or what is your current legislational status when it comes to IT as a critical infrastructure? Maybe we can start with Mr. Daka here from Albania.
Thank you for the question. Hello, everybody. Thank you for the invitation in this conference. Should be.
No, it's okay.
Okay. As for the question, right now in Albania, mostly all, or let's say, the experts that are in in this room today, most of them know about what Albania suffered almost more than 1 year ago about this one. But regarding the critical infrastructure, Albania had a law since 2017 in cybersecurity. That was a law for regulating the critical infrastructures, also the important infrastructure, just making a ranking or a categorization of infrastructures that will be included in a list. And also, based on the law, they are obliged to follow some rules and some minimum security requirements that they should implement in their infrastructures. Right now, from some months, we are in discussion for the new law, and hopefully we think that will be approved by the parliament inside of this year. So the new year for us, the 2024, will be operating in the new law of cybersecurity that is likely, we are mostly in this case to be transposed by the NIS2 directive. Normally, even the colleagues, even the Milan, said that one that it cannot be just copy-pasted as directive, but we should transpose it including our laws and our in each country, in our let's say locally needs that we have to follow for the critical infrastructures. This is for the moment in the basic of the law, and also right now in Albania with the directive and the law, we have almost 300 critical infrastructures, critical and important ones, that usually have to follow, let's say, the same rules and the same security measures in their baseline of the security in this case.
Good. Mr. Softis?
Hello everyone, it's a pleasure to be here. I would like to say that I think more or less all of us here know that Bosnia has a really specific constitution and it's a decentralized system of government. And due to that fact, currently we are lacking of cybersecurity legal frameworks, cybersecurity strategies, and cybersecurity laws. We don't have a legal framework for critical infrastructure. And that puts us in a unique position that we are kind of falling behind the region and also other European countries. Also, we don't have a right mechanism and tools to respond to attacks. But I'm not going to be negative all this time. I think we, due to the recent attacks happening in the region and also in Bosnia, I think it has shifted to the mindset of our politicians, and I think they are starting to finally do their own job. Also, I would like to point out that I'm a part of Cybersecurity Excellence Center, the organization that is new, that has been operating more than 1 year, and we are kind of first academic CSIRT body in Bosnia. We are very specific. We are envisioned as a research center and a think tank, but also an incident response body. And we do communicate with our politicians, with our government on different levels, and we have noticed that they have started taking these things very seriously. So I'm hopeful by the next year that I will come at the conference here or somewhere else in the region, and that I will see more positive news and say that we have adopted necessary frameworks, legislation, and other requirements that are necessary to build a cybersecurity resilient society.
Thank you. So now Mr. Krikotic here. Just to mention, Mr. Krikotic is my boss, so if I'm a little biased, I'm sorry, I have to make a living. I give my words to Mr. Krikotic.
Thank you, Nikola, and I am objective, and I do like to take objective criticism. I believe it's helpful, so please feel free to say whatever you think is right. Anyway, for Montenegro, as Director Polovic explained early on, we did develop the draft of the law, which we expect is going to be adopted in Parliament very soon, as soon as we got the European Union Commission comments and opinion on the same. And I believe we work very hard to synchronize that law with the NIS2 directive, and through that we're going to define the critical infrastructure, and as the NIS2 directive is stipulating, we are going to have the essential services and important services that we need to regulate. Of course, I all the time speak about the critical infrastructure because I believe that really should be a focus of one country, and how important the critical infrastructure is. But I will say this, that it's going to be something that I'm going to push, although we're going to have the power to regulate the critical infrastructure and to impose the ISO 2701 as the measures that the essential service provider should implement on those services which are essential to them, and then the set of measures, technical measures and organizational measures which are less strict for the important providers. I will say that it is really our goal not to act or at least to collaborate with the critical infrastructure and organize more of these conferences, organize trainings for them, and support them in any way or form and shape that we can. And we want those private sector, which are going to be the critical infrastructure, to see us as a partner rather than as a regulator, and as a credible partner and a partner with the capacities to help them in the case of a cyber attack. One thing that also I think we are all aware here. Okay, we can see the problem.
Sorry.
They are all kind of stopped working.
One, two, okay. So, okay, where was I at? Because we are such a small country, I still do think we are going to depend on the international partners and their help. Because there might be some kind of a sophisticated attack that even though we are putting enormous effort to raise our expertise, we're still not going to have it. Just because so we might need some help from our partners in case we come to such attacks. The second thing which I say is advantage of Montenegro as a small country, only 700,000 people, that we know everybody personally. Or most of the people personally, and in my phone I have over 300 contact numbers of everybody in this country who is in charge of cyber security, either in the private sector or in the government sector. So this is one great advantage of Montenegro, and we can quickly communicate with people, which is not the case of larger countries.
Okay, so the next question would be. What's your opinion on raising awareness and actually referencing to Mrs. Valentina's story before, of what the actual impact of a successful cyber incident, or not even just cyber attack, just the cyber incident can cause to a country. So the question is, what's your opinion on raising awareness about cybersecurity threats and hygiene for non-technical employees inside the critical infrastructure sectors?
Okay, right now, it's let's say it will be like a bad thing for us to be in the same line that Valentina mentioned, because mostly in Albania before even the government, even the private sector was in intention just to digitalize their infrastructure and their processes, not, let's say, to be more secure in them. After what happened in our government and in one of the banks that in Albania last year, all institutions and all the businesses are having their intention to go through cyber, to be secured in their systems. After that, most of them are making or are going to be a strong point in training or raising awareness to their non-technical people. It was like the same. I have suffered the same thing. Let's say even in my previous experience that I have worked in private sector, it was a company with about 54 companies all over Europe. And in 2019, I offered I told them an idea to build a SOC for their infrastructure because they were digitalizing their infrastructures all over companies in Europe. And they just disagree with that one. We don't need this one. We are just digitalizing things, but they have to be secured. But they didn't. Till 2021, when the company in Romania, there were 4 companies from the same group, they were attacked with a ransomware, and more than 2,000 machines were encrypted. And they suffered that one, and now 2 years or 2 years and a half later, they have 4 SOCs in all over Europe. And it's the same what happened in Albania, but also for the awareness, we are now getting some let's say initiatives in Albania, even with public awareness to do with people day by day by our CERT over there by our teams, but also one of the points that we have said to these security measures, let's say to critical infrastructure and important infrastructures, one of the points is that they should have a people or a cyber engineer or a cyber security people in their infrastructures, and to take care for all the other stuff for the trainings at least once in 3 months. It's better to do it every month, let's say, with non-technical people, but also to do it with these ones. Another initiative in Albania is with USAID that we are now a project to do the awareness for cyber in high schools and also to be in the lower level schools then. And this will be like the part for the non-technical people in Albania, not also the staff that are working in critical infrastructure, but also in the public awareness in this case.
I will say, since I already mentioned that we don't have any kind of legislation, frameworks, and strategies, I think awareness is very important, and I think awareness and bringing the awareness with people who are working in a critical infrastructure sector is crucial for cyber resilience. We often tend to forget that these people are in the front line of defense. They work with the system. They handle data and information. They have certain access privilege. So, but a majority of them, at least in my country, don't understand the technical part of cybersecurity. They lack of knowledge, they lack of experience, and that's why it's very, very important to educate them, to train them, and we need to make a difference between engineers and people who are working in administration or any other sort of jobs. We need to make tailored programs. We need to develop cybersecurity trainings, and that is something that critical infrastructure sectors in my country desperately need. And I think it's crucial for creating cybersecurity space safe and society in general.
Cybersecurity raising awareness, it's part of national cybersecurity strategy and one of the operational goals. And for this year we did multiple awareness trainings for the government official through the Human Resource Department. I do believe that a few hundred employees have been trained personally through these trainings. These efforts are going to be increased on the next year, when we are going to develop the new action plan for the implementing of the strategy. On the other hand, I would say that as myself, I have been a teacher in a couple of those trainings. I think raising awareness and doing either personal teaching or organizing different sources of video materials, doing phishing campaigns, it's fun. And that's something that it needs to take a strategic approach. Now we have a lot of these companies which are doing those general cybersecurity awareness for the company, and that's something that we are planning to implement for all the government officials as recommended and obligatory materials. So, thank you.
Yes, good. So, good answers here, because we all know that the non-technical people are actually always the low-hanging fruits that get targeted, and that's how the attack usually proceeds. So are there any takeaways or key points that any of you would like to assess before going to the next topic? Okay, so we can go for the next topic, which is the public-private sector relations and interoperability. The first question would be, would you describe that relationship more as a supportive or interactive, or more of a mandatory and regulative one?
If we're speaking in Albania's case, for that one, I want to make it, to split it in time, let's say, before and after the attack that we had in our state government infrastructure. And before that attack, mostly the private companies were like not to be so collaborative with the state, just decide of the law that they have to follow some rules because of the law of cybersecurity that existed there. But they didn't have an intention to collaborate, let's say, with state, with sharing information every day or something like that, at least in cyberspace. But after the attack, the companies or the private sector just feel the real power of the CERT in this case, the institution, also the state. And now, 1 year and 3 months later on, based with our increasing and our changing in our CERT, we have a good collaboration with private sector. Right now we have like something that is collaborative with financial sector in Albania. All the banks, day by day, or let's say at the end of the day, they just get all the IOCs from their systems, all the malware IPs or something in technical level, and send them to our team, and we just make some analysis in front of them and send to all infrastructures to be blocked and to be protected day by day. This is one of the part. And the other part is, as we know, and as we are suffering in all Western Balkans, we are suffering about the staff, the technical guys and professional ones that should work in day by day in these companies, even in private, even in public sector. Maybe in public sector is a bit more difficult. We know we are in, let's say, in the same cases because of the payment levels regarding or comparing to the private market in this case, but also we have like in the new law and the changes that we have made in the CERT, we had this SOC team or this SOC to be implemented in our government and in our institution. And the way was to monitor 24 hours in 7 days all the infrastructures. And we have too many infrastructures that are not capable to have a staff, let's say the private companies, the medium enterprises or that are essential, let's say, or important infrastructures, and they don't have staff to monitor themselves 24 hours. And they are asking our team to do it by voluntary, even though they have a, let's say, by the law they are obliged to, but they are asking to be the pilot project in this case. Not only anymore to be like, okay, we are not so sure if we want to give you information or something, but they are asking for it.
Yes, in Bosnia, like cooperation between public and private sector is very similar to Albania before the attack. It's non-existing. I mean, they cooperate at the minimum. They are fully aware that they need to enhance cybersecurity, but it all stops there. I think one of the very good examples, positive example, is cooperation between public sector and financial sector institution in Bosnia. They're due to all the legal requirements for the banking industry. I think that's a bright example of how things can be done. But other than that, it's really non-existing. It's really hard to get information. When attacks do happen, no one is cooperating, and it's often kept in secrecy. So we don't know what happened, when happened, how to offer our support, and how to react. I think there is still room for improvement, and I'm afraid that we have to go through the same thing as Albania in order that things start changing.
So in Montenegro, by the law right now, there is an obligation of everybody to report cyber incident to the national CERT. From the government perspective, I will speak from the government CERT team that we do get reports on incidents from different government organizations. Also, when there was a cyber attack last year, I've been personally approached by a few of the private companies asking us to share information about the indication of compromise so they can see if there is anything malicious happening in their network, which we did. So I believe in Montenegro that even I can't speak for the private sector because that's currently under the national CERT, and it's going to be within the future agency. That's going to be their jurisdiction to cooperate with the private sector. But I think from my previous experience when I was a part of the national CERT, that the initiative, there was coming questions from the private sector, which I collaborate about to share some either indication of compromise or to do some joint actions in order to prevent different kind of incident from happening. So I think once the agency is going to be formed and the capacities are going to be filled in, that cooperation is going to be voluntary rather than being regulated by the law, which is always a better situation.
Good answers. I would just like to emphasize that I'm glad to hear that in Albania the situation is moving towards the supportive and interactive mode rather than just a regulative one, and I hope that all of us will achieve that mode in the future. The next question would be that when it comes to traditional legacy or mass media, do you think that we as a society, government or a private sector, emphasize the importance of cybersecurity enough, and are there ways to improve that? Mr. Becker.
In this case, I will go with the line that we had that public partnership or the sharing of knowledge. Even in this case, in the state now we have some changes in the CERT. The CERT is growing just in this year from 20 people to about 60 right now, and all the team that we have over there are professional guys that were in Albania, and we made too many changes. One of the biggest ones were the salary levels on there. So this was the point that we day by day are getting, let's say, campaigns or something to do in this case, or to make the cyber more touchable from more people in day by day or in their lives. They should understand the importance of the cyberspace and the cyber resilience and how to be protected, let's say, in their daily tasks.
I think media now is doing a great job. Last 2 years compared to previous years, I see that cybersecurity has become a really hot topic. That digital media, printing media, they are all talking about cybersecurity, and it's great. But I think media as well need help from the government and educational institutions. we were talking about, in first part of this panel, we were talking about educating people and about cyber awareness of people working in the critical infrastructure sectors. I think we also need to create something similar for the people working in the media. They need to understand cybersecurity, they need to understand technical parts of it, they need to be professional, they need to represent cybersecurity in a way that it will be possible for the public to understand cybersecurity better. So I think right now I'm grateful that cybersecurity is the main topic, but I think there is a room for improvement, and I think we all together, NGOs, private and public sectors could do more and cooperate with media, because I think they are the main entity that can shape a public opinion about cybersecurity.
Yes, I agree completely. One of the things that Montenegro has done is that we make a third portal as one of the efforts to expand awareness about cybersecurity across the general population. And I agree completely that the initiative basically should come from the government about cybersecurity, and we should help media to promote more cybersecurity to general population on a national level. And as one of those ideas which we have now, and hopefully we're going to implement that next year, is to make a network of cybersecurity organizations, and there in that one the media can be included, and we can work together popularizing cybersecurity and generally spreading awareness.
Thank you for the answers. Maybe just a short story to share with all of you, just about the possible impact of the mass media, is that one day when I came home, my 60-year-old mother was like, "Hey, did you watch the news?" And I was like, "Why?" She said, you shouldn't be." Did I mention that she's 60 years old? But she uses a smartphone, obviously, and she said that you shouldn't be opening links from the strangers, and you should be aware of how are you using your smartphone. And that's the impact that the mass media is creating on the elders and everyone, actually. So yeah, we should emphasize that more. So are there any takeaways to note, or any goals for the future about this topic, or should we move on? Okay, so the last one, and not the least, is the topic of improving cyber threat landscape. And the first question would be for Mr. Softic about what was Bosnia and Herzegovina reaction to their neighbors being the targets of a cyber attack? Did it raise any awareness, alarms, and what were the actions taken?
Well, I would like to say that we were extremely worried because we are good neighbors, but that won't be true. But we did get worried due to the fact that when the attacks happened in the regions, in Albania and Montenegro and other countries, we also had two big attacks in Bosnia. One was on Bosnian parliament, and the other one was on the gas company, the biggest gas company in Bosnia. So it's all coordinated, the same timeline, and people started to get worried. Politicians started to get worried. Media started to get worried. Public started to get worried. Suddenly, people were asking, "Hey, this happened to us. Who is going to protect us? And what's the responsibility of the politicians?" Suddenly, politicians started to call our Cybersecurity Excellence Center and started to ask, what should we do? How should we do it? What are the necessary steps? So it did create, I would say, a huge wake-up call for our politicians. They realized that we currently have a huge gap in our cybersecurity frameworks, legislation, and other things. So they know that they are exposed, they know that we have a gap, and they are fully aware that public will consider them responsible if something like this happen again. So this year I see that the political movement has shifted, and that our politicians are, talking about cybersecurity. As I said previously, I'm hoping that next year I will come with the better news, and I will come with the progress, and I will share some. And I hope that I will share some success stories, and that we will get more resilient.
We hope so. We know that will be the case. And the next question is regarding cyber incidents that occurred last year. Can you share some experiences with us and just describe what measures were taken to mitigate and recover from those incidents? Mr. Daka.
Well, that is like a weak point in Albania now, and hopefully, we all hope that to be like in history to tell and not to suffer anymore or to repeat anymore. But it was like in any case, we should understand that is not only is not needed to take anymore in these days the kinetic war or something strikes or everything. Now we have another field that is cyber, that is more easily to attack in this case, and there are no boundaries. So not any state is an island in cyber. Even Albania wasn't. But I told before, we take care only for digitalization of the services, and we didn't take care about security. We make it publicly wide that, okay, we are digital now. And we made ourselves a target in this case. So everything that was an attack. Even the attack was in the public phase of the infrastructure, but that seems to be like you don't need to attack the whole infrastructure for an institution and for a state to make damage in that one. Even some part of the infrastructures make the same damage. In one of my trips that I have in CISA, in their report, they say that the one that was mentioned before for the Colonial Pipeline in US, let's say, it is something that is connected in this case, was not attacked the whole infrastructure, but only the financial systems. In this case, only the part of the financial system. The Colonial Pipeline wouldn't give free of charge gas and oil to the people, so they shut it down. That was not an interruption about the cyber. The cyber was in the financial part. That happened in Albania too. That was just a part attack to shut it down, everything, to protect yourself or for don't take data losses. And in this case, we learned by that mistake because thankfully we had the help from our international partners. In this case was Microsoft, US Department, and also EU. Was right there, or even the founding, to recover as soon as possible. It was recovered and we learned. What Albania is now, that I emphasized in the first questions, that we are now in this level, is for me, I'm pretty sure that it is just from this case. Even the recovery in technical point where, let's say, it took a month or something, but in the legal way and in the awareness level, it took a good point because everyone just made himself clear that he should take care about their data in this case. And also the state, also the politician levels, the administration levels took some learning in themselves to be secured, or let's say to be informed that what is happening by their decisions. So they took it in a good mood now, and we have that change in certain in all infrastructure about the state and all the security things. So if I'll take like to tell something about that one is for these systems, even the states we are talking about the Bosnia, but it's not the only one. There are too many other ways, even in private sector, even the government ones, that we should build this system secured by design. That is one of the best approaches or the best things to do. Not to be, we will digitalize, we'll get a system running, but it's not running if it is not secured for me. Thanks.
Mr. Krikotic?
Yes, about what I was to say, I agree with the approach from Albania that the systems should be designed with perhaps a little bit more focus on security rather than functionality, which I believe is the case all around the Balkan and around the world, in my opinion. So we should start to think a little bit more about securing things before function. In Montenegro, currently we are in a rapid process of digitalization here, almost producing new services for the citizens, and by doing that, of course, we are going to increase the vulnerability landscape, and by that the threat landscape, of course. So we need to think about cybersecurity. One of the good things is that, as it was mentioned before, is that it is now the awareness of those high political officials, the ministers, and even the prime ministers on his agenda has the cybersecurity high up. So this was not the case, or it was at least less. They had less awareness about cybersecurity 10 years ago when I started working here. So this is a good thing, and we have, let's say, the wind in our back in order to develop the cybersecurity capacities. Now it's up to us, and it is a process. So it's going to take some time, but we are working towards it.
So I think that we, by answering those questions, I think that we answered the last one as well, which was what actions should we take for reducing threat landscape. If you want to add anything, we can, but that pretty much making systems designed by secured by design and just applying the zero trust module is the best thing to go for. So anything if you want to add, you feel free to. Okay, if not, I think that we are about to leave for lunch, but we are waiting for your answers, if any. Well, questions, I'm sorry.
Da li imamo pitanja?
Hello everyone, my name is Boris and I'm working private sector. My question to you is actually first to share my opinion. No way that government can protect whole infrastructure now. Like we said, private security companies who can, for example, protect this hotel and help or water supply in some city. Do you guys see like a vision from side of government to include private sector like a partners, like a USA did, for example, in Department of Defense, you can be hired and did some kind of protection for them. So I think that government has guidelines, even to certify us if it's necessary, and to give us like an opportunity, because two of you guys come from private sector to government sector. I don't have those plans, but I know that I can contribute. So do you see like in the near future that the government can like start to work more efficient with private sector, to lead them, to guide them, and to give them opportunity also to like make for living and to be part of that like a huge protection plan? That's all. Thank you.
I can give first my opinion. So definitely, thank you for the question. I think it's a very good question, and definitely I think the private sector and private companies are the plan here of protecting Montenegro cybersecurity. And as we speak, I am currently working on a project where we are actually looking to hire private companies to offer us cybersecurity services. Unfortunately, in Montenegro, I believe there is not so many private companies which are offering, but there is still some. But and I would like it if that kind of field where companies are specialized in cybersecurity, it's more developed, but definitely it is a part of the strategy, and one of the part of the strategy is also public-private partnership. We are also looking at some models as Estonia has, and thinking about that, where they have some kind of a cyber reserve where the private companies are coming in case of a massive cyber attack and crisis, where they're going to step in also. So we are looking at those kind of models, but definitely the cooperation between private sector and giving the private companies also the ability to protect critical infrastructure, whether it's a government or not, doesn't matter. That is something that we're going to do. And one thing I did not mention also, but you did mention about the certification, and yes, we need to think about that part as well. The insider threat, and it's a great risk for everybody, and it was by some research presented that a great data leakage was done by those insiders who actually, for many kind of reasons, stole the data and leaked the data and all kind of malicious activities. So think about that one as well, how to secure that the staff who is actually operating the critical infrastructure is actually somebody that can be trusted and is not going to do malicious activities.
Okay, regarding to that one, I will start from your sentence that you'll not thinking any time to work for the government. I was in the same thinking 2 years ago. Right now, I'm up here representing Albania from the state government. So it's you never say never in this case. But anyway, on your questions, what is happening in Albania right now? In this one, the CERT is operating in the way that we have a SOC team that is monitoring 24 hours some private, let's say some of the private critical infrastructures, not all of them because of the capacity. And this is a plan till the next year to cover, let's say, full of them, all of them to be monitored 24 hours. Also, we have a red team, a penetration testers team over there. So they day by day they analyze, they attack the infrastructures and send them reports, and also not only, but also the recommendations which is the best way to fix the findings that they do. In this case, also a special team that we are now creating over there is let's say the ad hoc team. The ad hoc team is with experts that are part of the international, or let's say Albanian guys that work in the international companies, the experts, and also some experts for the private market. In any case that will go in the crisis level, this team will be in charge, will take the lead for the crisis. This is the way that we are thinking to manage everything over there. So maybe this is the point that you needed. Maybe you are able to help. In any case, that the government will need our expertise or the expertise from the private market, and will be always needed.
Imamo li još neko pitanje? Aha, evo ovdje.
I think it's actually not a question but a comment. Maybe to even consider going a step beyond having the private sector supporting the incident response and sharing the responsibility in securing the infrastructures, but also the topic that was raised earlier, the awareness raising. So the private sector does actually have awareness raising programs. Think about the financial sector, think about the banks, think about the telcos who are daily working to warn the customers to reduce their own risks for their own networks. But maybe the government would provide more leadership and create partnerships frameworks even in those aspects, which are not necessarily just incident response, but also awareness raising, maybe even policy making. That would be probably very much welcomed by the private sector as well. Just wanted to make that comment. Thank you.
Regarding to that Mrs. Segulovsky said, in Albania we always do some awareness and let's say training programs for the IT guys that working in infrastructures, and we emphasize them the time by time just to share all the information that they get with their staff, even by email, even because okay, we are in the market. I was in the private market before, and I know that we operate in the Western Balkans, we operate in the same level. We maybe have companies that have about 200 staff over there, but it's one IT guy. It's all one-man show in this case. It's a director of IT, it's procurement of IT, it's the IT help desk too. So in this case, it is too difficult to manage everything and to train the staff. But just even to share the information that we get, the slides or all the materials that we send, just to make the people that are not in technical level to read them and to understand something about this one.
Thank you. Any more questions?
Thank you. One question for Albanian colleague. Do you have a plan to develop some cybersecurity lab in Albania, or do you have it already? And the question is, if you have it, of course, does the private sector could use it? That is the question for you. And another one question for a Bosnian colleague and for Albanian colleague. It's connecting about this question about including private sector. And the question is, do you have any kind of program for supporting innovation company in the cybersecurity area, and do you have some kind of program or approach to keep youngsters and experts in the cyber area in your country? Have you?
If I'm talking about for Albania right now, we are now collaborating. We have some funds that will be funding that lab that for the IT guys or cyber guys that working in the private sector to join time by time. But till now, we have done some events with them, like capture the flag or some training like that, even with third party systems that we have rented for the days of these events, but not a self-owned one. But we are thinking to build one of them, so to have it like day by day or any time of the day that a group want to come to test themselves, they are more than welcome. In this case, that is the idea. And any program how to keep the guys that are really trained and professional or experts to stay in the country. I think there are some, let's say, some intervention by the politician and in this case, in government level, but I don't think really it will work. The only thing that will work, as my understanding, is the thing that we should see that this level of living in Albania now. We have a different approach than 5 years ago or than 3 years ago. There are too many people maybe in software developing or something that before they left the country, but now they are working for the companies that are in the country because they can get more than 2,000 or 3,000 during the developing companies now. The same thing is on cyber. Before the attack, even the salary levels, even the private market, even in the public, they were not too high. Now, the change that was made in the government in this case, let's say for the IT infrastructure, government IT infrastructure, that specialists that are working on there, now the salaries are, let's say, a bit more than 2 times more, and in the cybersecurity now they are tripled. 3 times more than that were before. And this is a case where some guys, let's say, for me by myself, we make an evaluation. Does it have a value, let's say, to work in the private market for 300 or 400 euros more than working for government, but we have some, let's say, some benefits like this conference over here, participation, knowing the people, some trainings more. Or does it have a value really or not? This is the color. But before, this difference was not 300, but was, let's say, 2,000. At the end of the day, these guys have to leave. Have to leave because it's their daily life. They need the money in the end of the day. So let's be more practical in this case. It's everybody in this room. We should understand this thing. it's mostly our daily life that should be complementary with all that we have to do.
The situation is more or less similar as in Albania. What I noticed that some public sectors are becoming more flexible towards people working, because in cybersecurity within the institution, because they realize that they cannot pay them enough. So they have some sort of deal where people can work for other companies part-time and work for them as well. So I think flexibility is also very crucial for this problem. My organization, we have certain programs. One of the programs that we have implemented recently is an incident response training for the students of electroengineering faculty in Sarajevo. We have gathered 12 best students. We have provided them for like 10 days training. We have give them certification, and some of them will continue to work with our center. So in that way, it's our contribution for, especially for young people, to stay, to cooperate with us and implement their experience in the field.